be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Bug Beanstalk with the brand new Rakshasa's Bargain. This card was printed almost, it feels like it was printed directly to go into this deck. This card is perfect. Not only does it cost technically more than 5 mana, so that we do get the Beanstalk trigger, but it can be cast for 3 mana, and it's a blue card for Force of Will, and it's a green card for Endurance and Force of Vigor. What a perfect card, a perfect addition to this deck. And we are going to be able to look at the top 4 cards of our library, put 2 of them into our hand and 2 of them into our graveyard. And let's talk about how awesome that is. First of all, it's going to fuel our graveyard for Murktide, for Murderous Cut, and it's not technically drawing cards, so it doesn't trigger Orcish Bowmasters. Pretty awesome. So what I've done here is I've basically just gone the full 4, and whether 4 is correct or not, I always like to jam 4 when a card is brand new. This just came out today. And I'm hoping that we'll get a lot of Beanstalk triggers, get a lot of value. Our green count is so high that we can play Endurance, which is awesome. Endurance is great against Oopsal spells, against Reanimator, against Delver type strategies, and it's just a great blocker. And you can pitch cast it thanks to all the green in our deck. We also have a lot of green to cast it. We're playing 4 green sources in the deck between the 2 Trops, the Hedge Maze, and the Bayou. And we're playing 4 black sources, even though our black is really just limited to removal and Thoughtseize. I went ahead and moved the Orcish Bowmaster to the side. I have a detailed sideboard guide in the video description, and you can see it. And you can see that these come in a lot, but you don't necessarily need them in a lot of matchups. So I've been kind of like moving them more to the sideboard these days and relying more on big finishing creatures like Murktide to close the game. So we do have 6 pieces of removal in the Fatal Pushes and the Murderous Cuts, and technically 8 if you include Witherbloom, which is great at removing opposing Bowmasters, or it's really good at getting rid of a flipped Tamio. Oh, or of course, Chalice of the Void. So, or Leyline, Chalice of the Void. So we definitely want to be able to remove our opponent's permanents. We want to be able to control what they're doing through Thoughtseize and Force. We want to control the board, and we just want to take over the game and draw cards like a maniac. We've got 3 Hydroblasts for red matchups, 4 Force Negations for combo matchups, 2 Force of Vigor. These are great against artifact-centric decks. These are also quite good against Moon Stompy. We have a Carpet of Flowers to buff our mana, and we've got 2 Grafdigger's Cage, just additional respect for the graveyard. We're going to play a full 5 rounds. My kids are probably going to play a bunch of piano in the background. Should be fun. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're unfortunately up against somebody who plays a lot of Necrodominance combo. So we need a Mold Force, basically. We are on the play, so we could Thoughtseize and then waste them out. I think this is good enough. I don't want to go deeper. Card that goes back, I think, is going to be this Murktide. I mean, how useful is Wasteland if they're on it? I think I'll put back a Wasteland, just so if I draw a blue card, I have something. Okay, and we are presuming that they're actually on that, but they've played that a lot lately. They're not on it. We took an unnecessary precaution, and we'll hope to win games 2 and games 3. All right, they're on combo. They're on a different combo. What is this card? Invert and Invent. I have not seen this card. Switch the power and toughness of each of up to 2 target creatures until the end of turn. No idea what that does. Invent. Search your library for an instant card and or a sorcery card. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Okay, so that's a big mana play, but it lets you get 2 cards. I don't know how they'll get that high in mana. The fact that they're playing Pact tells me they're like looking for something here. Gosh, scary. Our Wastelands are going to be ineffectual, unfortunately. I think what we're going to try to do is quickly tech up to Rakshasa's Bargain. I think we just take this. We could take the Ponder. They can't cast stock up yet. I'm just wondering, what the heck is this card here for? Power and toughness of each of up to 2 target creatures. Do they have like some 13/13 blocker thing? I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to take the Ponder and I'll pass. And we'll hope that they have some sort of wastable land and we can keep them off of stock up. All right, they're passing. Oh, okay, Beanstalk's good. We can't use it yet. I'll just play a land and pass. Yeah, we're on the slow train here. Brainstorm, can't interact. I mean, like, they must be playing some sort of degenerate deck because Pact of the Negation, I've never seen a fair deck play that deck. Play that card. All right. Green source would be great. Yep, I think we just go get it and we jam it. We could go Rakshas's Bargain, but I'm going to try. I don't think it's going to succeed, but I am going to try to go ahead and get Beanstalk first. If we draw forces, great. They will... What? They're not going to force that? Okay. They're very confident. Okay. So starting next turn, we're going to basically be able to dig through our entire deck. I mean, this is going to be insane, assuming there's another turn. They're probably going to stock up here. Okay. I seriously doubt they have any sort of soft permission. I don't want to play out the Wasteland. There's a decent chance I find a land off Rakshas's Bargain that I can play out that'll actually be tappable for colored mana. It's worth noting that the following turn, we are going to probably have Murktide online because we're going to put 2 cards in the graveyard here. The best thing I can find off Rakshas's Bargain would be probably like a land, like the taps for black and a Thoughtseize, or a Force of Will would actually be even better. It's so crazy that this is an instant too. That's really freaking good. Well, let's do it. No guts, no glory. I'm going to main phase this. They can force, but they can't Pact of Negation it. Okay. See if we can find a force. Why they let us have it. Okay, so I think at this point, Endurance probably doesn't matter against their deck. Be stunned if it does. Do we really need Rakshas's Bargain number 3? I guess we could take it. It's not bad. How do we choose 2, I guess? Is that how this works? Okay, those go into our hand. The others go in the graveyard. Our graveyard is full enough. I can just play this out, and I can pass and just hope we're not dead. We don't have any defense. But being able to essentially look at 5 cards every turn would be insane if we get to the point. You're probably seeing why I decided to pull out dazes and cards like that in the favor of having the game go long, because you just get so many cards, and then we just play cheap interaction like Thoughtseize. All right. I suspect it's some sort of show and tell deck based on the fact that it's mono blue. Here's a land. So I think we Rakshana first and then maybe Merc. We could brainstorm to see what we find. If we get the Merc out this turn, we do get a bunch of cards. I just want to find both a Thoughtseize and a force. Yeah, I'm just going to go for this. Let's do this first. All right, so we get the Beanstalk trigger. Now, are they going to let us get a bunch of cards? Looks like they are. We got another Beanstalk. Got some tasty instants and sorceries we can put in the yard. Witherbloom doesn't do anything, so I definitely don't want that. I think we take up the Beanstalk and brainstorm. Okay, I'm seriously tempted to... What can we find here that would be good? I don't want to go to discard. Can't really... Oh, we could ponder. Ponder actually maximizes the looks. Beanstalk does get us further, higher value, and they may... But, I mean, the problem fundamentally is we have no stack interaction. We're not going to find enough stack interaction aside from this brainstorm delivering us. I think we do want to brainstorm now, because if we brainstorm later, they can pact it. We'll get another black source here. Just go ahead and brainstorm and see what we can find. I'm fine with discarding an excess land. Wow, we didn't find much of anything here. That's really disappointing. Okay, so in terms of things that we don't really need, we could have back-to-back Murktides next turn. I don't know that that's strong enough. I really feel disappointed that we finally found the Thoughtseize, but we don't have the mana to cast it. I feel like the Beanstalk is not a particularly good use of our mana at this point, but it feels crazy to discard it. I think I'm going to discard... I'll just go like this. Now we'll go to discard, and we'll discard Tamio. I don't think Tamio is going to get us where we need to go. I think we need to kill them quickly with Merc. The next turn, instead of Rakshas's Bargain, I'll probably Merc. I'll probably Beanstalk Merc. They've got a lot of mana. It could be that they're going to high tide us or something. That would make sense. Dream Halls. Okay. This is in. So the good news is we can use Rakshas's Bargain here for free. Okay, so they are attempting a Lorien here. I think I could just go ahead and cast by discarding a card. I'm just going to discard a Ponder here. So we get the trigger. They don't have that many cards in hand. They've got 4. They're going to get 7 if we can't stop them. We really do need to find a force here. Oh, this is the card Invent. They can invent by discarding a card either a blue card or a red card. This is what the card is in here for. It's pretty good. You get to basically double tutor. Okay, they're going to go find something that's going to stop us. Pretty sure we're dead. But now we have an idea of what they're playing. I have no idea how... Do they like cheat Dream Halls into play? I mean, it's 5 mana. That's like a fortune in Legacy. It's got some cool art, though. I haven't seen this card in many years. This is a reserve list card, I believe. Same set as Mox Diamond. Stronghold. Okay, they got Enter the Infinite. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. Then put a card on top. You have no maximum hand size until the end of the turn. That's a pretty good card. And Sublime Epiphany, which counters our card and draws a card. Yeah, I mean, we're dead. We're just waiting for them to decide how we're dead. They're bouncing that to hand. Okay, they counter a spell. They're going to draw 3 cards. They still have a turn. They can just win right now. Well, but I'm going to let them win because I'm curious how they win. Okay, Enter the Infinite. That would be an opportunity for me to force, actually, or like brainstorm for force. I know that 2 of the top cards are not force. Still, there's a very small chance that this could have been a force, and I should have fought over it. So that was a minor. Yeah. Okay, so you got Omniscience. You got 37 cards in your hand. I think we can safely F6 here, and we'll just see how they're gonna win. Like, they've got 1 card left in their deck, so they could use Release the Answer or something like that. Oh, they can just cast this twice. Approach to the Second Sun. They just stock up into it. Yeah, and they can stock up. They have 0 cards, so they just cast that again and they win. So let's talk about sideboard. This is not in my sideboard guide. I mean, Force of Vigor does kill Omniscience. Not convinced that's great. I think Carpet with all those islands is probably pretty good. I think Orchestra Masters is good here. Force Negations definitely come in. What comes out? Endurance. Not going to be particularly helpful here. Witherbloom Command, not going to be particularly helpful. Wasteland, not great. I mean, we might take out 2 Wastelands. It's just like they didn't play a single wastable land here. They may have that new land that makes spells uncounterable or something like that. But I don't think we're going to get a lot of mileage out of our Wastelands here. I mean, I could just go all the way down. We just have Carpet. We're not playing any Lorien Revealed. I had to cut something to make room for Rakshasa's Bargain, so Lorien Revealed, and then I just went up to 20 lands. I think these are pretty easy cuts. We didn't see any creatures at all. It's pretty safe to say it's a creatureless deck. Force of Vigor could come back in. Witherbloom drains them of life. I don't think that's good enough. I think Endurance could be playable because it does help beat down. They might target something in their graveyard. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm also not convinced that Force of Vigor is good. Let's see. We have 13 green cards in our deck now. Yeah, I think we just bring a Wasteland back in and we give it a go. If they bring in creatures, we're just going to have to outmuscle those creatures with Murktide. Murktide can usually stand up to basically any creature. All right. I mean, this is a Beanstalk hand. It's got a force in it. I think we snap keep this. So I do have a Surveil land in my deck and I intend to use it. Hopefully they do play like at least 1 non-basic land and we can do something here. Hedge Maze is in. That I would like. Yes. Now we can take a peek at their hand. If we Beanstalk now, the next turn we could potentially peek at their hand and do something else. There's a risk. I think I'm just going to Beanstalk. No, I'm going to go ahead and Thoughtseize. I think the responsible thing to do is to go ahead and Thoughtseize here. They may Brainstorm. Wow, they're playing freaking main deck Sublimes. I've never even seen this in a main deck before. Well, Show and Tell is definitely the card to take here. Surprised they didn't Brainstorm to hide it. So their hand doesn't really do anything for several turns without Show and Tell. I'm really stunned that they're playing Dream Halls because I think like it's just like a bad version of Omniscience. That's fine. This does change the texture of their hand. If they ever find a way to get like a ton of mana out, we're in deep trouble. Okay, Island. All right. They do not have any interaction in their hand. So I think this is just a Beanstalk pass. And I'm going to hope that we find a Thoughtseize here. Carpet. Oh, it would be so good if we could cast that. Yeah, that sucks. But we'll do it next turn, I guess. I mean, hopefully they'll play out yet another land. I'm not excited about pitching Rakshasa's bargain. Rakshasas bargain. They don't have land. Let's go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and green here. Okay, we're in. I think we do want to use the green, double green. Then we can go blue, black. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and go to post-combat. I could put in endurance. I guess blue makes more sense here. Let's see. Is there a way that we could have enough blue to do it? So we had double blue. No, we can't have force up for Rakshasas. So I think I just want to add green here, and then I'll just go blue. It doesn't really matter too much. It's about what we draw subsequently. Blue, black. Yeah, I think in retrospect, that should have just been blue mana. We're not playing Veil in our deck. Oh, wow. Yeah, don't mind if I do. This is insane. Okay. We have plenty of action now, friends. Let's go ahead and go to their turn. So we've got double force up. They cast spells this turn. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I guess... it's interesting to see that in their deck. I wonder what situation that becomes relevant. They're going to go get an island. If they play the land out, that's great for us. They do. We're going to have tons of mana next turn to do very delightful things. All right. So we still haven't figured out a way to win, but I'm confident that we'll get a Merc. Merc will be big. Let's do blue, green, black, Rakshasa's Bargain. This card just feels really powerful. Force negation in the grip. There's a Merc. I think we also take this Beanstalk. Okay, so we can play this out. Green, Beanstalk again. Draw trigger. Let's drop a Merc. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just make it full size. I don't have any way to play back these. Well, I mean, technically Tomio could flip. Merc's in. I think we just pass with like 3 forces up. They're pretty dead on board. I'll discard Endurance, and I'm going to discard Beanstalk. I know it's like sacrilege to do so, but like we have Show and Tell. I'm just going to force that and draw a bunch of cards. Okay. All right. Pretty good. Okay. So now I wish I had another revenge, or a bargain, rather. I'm just going to add blue here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cantrip a bunch, and then I'm going to make my mark even bigger. So I'll play this out. I'll flip it. Okay. Now Bowmasters joins the fray, which may be helpful. We don't need this land, but we're going to draw it anyway. We don't necessarily need to draw it. Does Bowmasters help? Let's do some quick thinking. So this is 8 power, and then we can make it go up to like 10, maybe 11. I mean, Bowmasters might be enough to crimp them. Mainly, I just want to keep a lot of forces up. I think I just put these back. She flips. I'll plus her. I'm going to go ahead and ponder here. I'm going to shuffle. Force of Vigor is nice, but it's not what we're looking for. Anywhere, yes. Okay, there's a land. We don't really need the land. I think I just go ahead and play this out first and see what we draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blue, blue. We got a bunch of triggers here. Okay, we got some more blue cards that can pitch to force. Okay, let's see. We could ponder and we could make another one. Is that a bad decision? Just if we ponder and make another one, we further reduce their life total. Further increase the number of things they need to deal with to win. Okay, I'm just going to take this Brainstorm. Can play this out. So technically, I've got 4 forces up if I don't tap out. So I think I'll just chill. Again, we're like winning by such a massive margin. It may seem absurd to like even optimize those kinds of things, but we have plenty of time on the clock. Okay, and clearly they don't care. We can just come in for a hug. Discarding something. The game's over. Let's go to combat. All right. So that card drew us like so many cards and helped us dig and helped us feel Murktide. I mean, I feel like 4 Murktide, 4 bargain. That is definitely a deck building option based on the way that game felt. Now, keep in mind, we were basically goldfishing. I don't have any changes. These endurances feel terrible. Like, it just doesn't do anything against their deck. Maybe Witherbloom would be better. It can at least regrow us a land. But they don't put anything into play that's low enough value. So it's like, get a land back and drain them for 2. That doesn't seem like particularly strong. We'll see. Maybe Endurance will have its day in the sun. The other option is to just bring in Hydroblast, even though they don't do anything. They still did not present a single wastable land, I don't think. They must be playing mono basic islands. We've got 27 blue cards. I think keeping Endurance in just to fuel the Force of Vigor. I don't know. I think it's more likely that we get in a situation where we need our graveyard to like draw cards. So I think I'm going to bring those in. That we need our graveyard to fuel the Merc is what I mean. It's possible they play something that can be blown up that we just haven't seen it. This is a force hand. It's got the Tamio combo. It's not bad. I think we keep it. If they do have some explosive way to get to show and tell that they're just not showing us, other than just playing Island and doing a turn 3 show and tell, that could be an issue. I don't think they have anything to interact with our board, so I do think putting a Tamio out there is totally reasonable. And trying to accumulate advantage that way. We're going to have lots of land drops. All right. Time to see if they... Okay, there's a City of Traders. Haven't seen that. I think, given that they just played the City of Traders and that they thought for a while on their mulligan, I am going to waste the city. Because I think it's possible... Oh. I'm not sure it's going to get any better, frankly. This may seem extreme, but I'm not convinced that they have like a way to use that mana. Okay, that is a way to use it. I didn't think about that. But this does keep them off show and tell for a couple turn cycles. Gives us time to Thoughtseize them and to get Tamio cooking. All right, they're passing. Now we have Force of Vigor if we don't use Witherbloom. I think there's a decent chance they just don't have a turn 1 play and then we can Thoughtseize, but there is the risk. No, I'm going to Thoughtseize. This does telegraph to them that we don't have days. We don't actually have days in our deck, but they don't necessarily know that. But I like the idea of being able to keep this up just in case we need to get like a different color for some reason. Wow, they really did not want us Thoughtseizing them. Well, you know what I like to say? You're forcing, I'm forcing. And I will pitch the Brainstorm there. I think Tamio will be a more valuable game piece if the game is protracted in any way. All right. So their hand is Show and Tell, Omniscience. And they don't have anything else going on. I think we take the show and tell here and we pass. Okay, they drew Tarn for turn. So they can end step Born Upon a Wind if they like. Since they do have Omniscience in their hand, I am tempted to just keep this Witherbloom in hand. I think I'm going to do that for now. I can Witherbloom and get back a Wasteland later. All right, and they're probably going to cantrip here with the Born Upon a Wind. I'm still not sure why that's in their deck. All right, they draw a card. It's a pity I don't have a Bowmasters to make cards like that harder to cast. Okay, so again, they've made the mistake of playing out a fetch instead of showing... Like, I believe they still have the island. I could be wrong. They have 3 islands. Stock up. Can't interact with that. And the play where I forced... I could have just been like, okay, you want to stop my... I'll just force whatever you do. But they have a one-sided force that they can only cast on the turn they're about to win. And that was why I decided to force to protect the Thoughtseize. And that's also why they forced my Thoughtseize. Well, they have to force my Thoughtseize if they want to keep on to... Yeah. All right, if we don't have a land drop, I might Witherbloom, but that does drop my guard completely. No, I don't need to anymore then. I'll just play at this land and I'll just swing. There is a small chance that I could cantrip into a Thoughtseize. Or another cantrip that allows me to flip this, that allows me to regrow. I'm going to do this. And then next turn, I'll be able to regrow my force. So we get a drop here. So we have double of each color. We're also getting closer to being able to hardcast a Force of Vigor, which is unlikely to matter. Holy guacamole. These are insane. So I think what we do is we just take the bargain. I'll put the Murktide on the bottom, and we're going to assume that we're going to be able to bargain into one of these. That we can bargain into the second Merc, is what I'm saying. Or bargain into Merc, if that makes sense. Okay. So our only point of interaction is Force of Vigor. Once they have 5 mana, they can start casting Dream Halls and stuff like that. Did they find it? No. Okay. They're stocking up again. It's worth noting that even if I force, they have Pact. So next turn, we're going to Thoughtseize them again. I'm tempted to bargain first. I know I'm not going to find a land. I have an idea. So I regrow the Thoughtseize. I Thoughtseize them. Then I can Witherbloom to get back a land. And then I can make my land drop for the turn. And next turn I can Rakshasa's bargain into a potential additional Thoughtseize. Give me the land drop. Fetching. But if we Witherbloom, we are going to put the Merc in the graveyard. They're putting something on top. It's probably Show and Tell. Unfortunately, that's precisely where I can't get to it. I can't get the Show and Tell off the top of their deck. I have to Thoughtseize it. They're doing stock up instead. I guess they're so high in mana they don't even want to have. They don't want to risk Show and Telling. I'm still going to Thoughtseize them, I think. Yeah, they're putting it in their hand. Yeah, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to win it. These types of decks are really hard to beat because they just keep presenting so many threats, like overloading your interaction. I'm going to start with the Thoughtseize. I could have regrown a Force, but again, we know that they have a Pact in their hand. I think we take the Show and Tell again. And then I'm just going to go ahead and regrow a land and do some damage to them, I guess. Yeah. And that unfortunately is going to put... Oh, wait. I could mill them. And then I'll just mill them. I don't know that putting cards in their graveyard is going to help them. And now I can get back... Getting back Wasteland is probably the best thing to do. Just so I can waste that land. Yeah. Because I think they're going to need it. Okay. They're brainstorming. So we are going to draw a Murktide next turn, which I think we cast and then we kill them in 2 swings. They have to find enough mana to be able to do stuff. So I believe their hand is like maybe 2 packs and an Omniscience right now. There's a Ponder. They're cantripping a lot. Just because they have Omniscience doesn't mean they win. They actually also have to have a payload spell that they deliver. So I'm going to plus Tomio, and then what I can do is I can drop the Merc. Gosh, I mean, there's a small chance that we could find a disruption spell that could be meaningful. I'm going to just Merc because it's like a 2-turn cycle. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, we can't exile the Thoughtseize. 1. So I'm going to discard. I'm going to exile everything but the Thoughtseize. So that'll make it a 6. That's not a 2-turn cycle. Oh wait. If I Witherbloom, I can drain their life. I could probably just... oh wait, when I get the Thoughtseize back, that'll make the dragon bigger. Okay, I figured it out. I saw the line. Okay, so they have a turn to win. They have to win basically, not immediately, but like almost immediately. Okay, 5 lands. If they Dream Halls or something like that, I will immediately force it. Then they'll have to Pact, and then they'll have to win, or they'll die to their Pact. I'm going to wait until they attempt to do something. Once they give me priority, I will Force a Vigor. Wait. I can cast by discarding this Rakshasas. So discarding it is better because then it's in the graveyard. I was about to exile it, but I might as well use Dream Hall's ability for my own benefit on the way out. Invent, search your library for an instant card or sorcery, reveal them. Okay, so they can win here, I believe, with this card. They go get that one card, so I need to win. I'm going to cast this. Cast by discarding a card that shares a color. Dream Halls, let's discard this. They can force this. This is the last card in their hand, is the Force. They opt not to. Okay, so unfortunately these cards don't do it. I'm going to have to take the Ponder and the Brainstorm. And then I can discard Ponder to cast Brainstorm. I do think that's correct. No, if I do this, there's no way that I'm going to find a blue card. What could I find that could do something here? I don't think I can find anything. I think I'm just dead. Okay, I think I let them do this, and they're probably going to go find a Force and a blue card. But that won't save them. They might find some win con. I'm going to just see what they get. Because this is on the stack, and they can't cast. They can get an instant, and they can get a sorcery. They can get Sublime Epiphany, counter this, draw a card, maybe bounce my Murktide. I think Sublime Epiphany is what they're going to get. So they pitch packed. I think Omniscience is the last card in their hand. What did they get? Does it not show me what they got? Oh, they got another Invent and an Omniscience. Oh, so they can keep doing this over and over. Okay, yeah, I didn't think about that, but that basically is like you can just invent it as many times as you want. But each time you're discarding a card, it's not free to do it. So they have 0 cards in hand now. This has got to be Sublime Epiphany. I can't imagine anything else making sense here. Sublime Epiphany is a really great card if you don't need to worry about paying mana for things. It's like 6 mana Cryptic Command. It's like the ultimate Cryptic Command. Okay, they got Sublime Epiphany and Show and Tell, and now they're gonna Show and Tell. They're gonna pitch cast the Sublime Epiphany. So the modes on Sublime Epiphany are return target permanent to a hand, counter target spell, and they get to draw a card. Pretty good. Now they have the Dream Halls, but they don't have anything else going on. Okay. So I think that's a good card. Okay, so options. 1, I think we just get back Thoughtseize and take their card. We could get back Force of Vigor. We don't have a green card. Okay, here's what we do. I think, what were the 2 cards they got? It was Show and Tell and Sublime Epiphany. So Show and Tell is the card in hand, I believe. Did they discard Show and Tell here? No. Not that I can tell. Okay. So I think first I'm going to brainstorm. I'm going to ponder. Because I can get back Force of Vigor and I can just clear that Dream Halls. Okay. So we get back Force of Vigor. I can just go up the Beanstalk real quick. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, this is slower. It's giving them an extra turn. The Beanstalk. Now I draw a trigger. Now I'm just going to go get the Force of Vigor. If I get the Force of Vigor, I just discard the... Yeah, I'll do this. Oh, I get to add some mana. That's nice. I don't think it matters here. And then I'm just going to cast on that. Done. Discarding this. Okay, we'll pass. Okay, we have only a minute and a half. They have, I believe, a Show and Tell in hand. But they're going to be drawing some random card. Well, now, not anymore. If they just find some really powerful card, they can put it into play. Stock up. Okay, that's a good card. So I think this turn we're going to go ahead and Murktide. I can't remember what the top card of my deck was. I can Murktide and I can Bowmasters. That's not necessarily going to stop them from doing powerful things, though. Right, I'm just going to start by doing this. Blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. Yeah, I'm not happy with how I play this game. I feel like there were probably some windows where I could have done better. For another Bowmaster, which we can't use. We're just going to chill. I think we're probably dead. I mean, like, assuming they can't win, we're in a good position, but I think they can probably win. Because they were able to stock up last turn. Okay, luckily they do not have a second Mystic Sanctuary in their deck. 7 mana. If this is Show and Tell... Oh, it's not Show and Tell. Lauren revealed. Well, it's unfortunate that I can't punish that. Okay. 1 minute on the clock. I'd like to find a Force. Thoughtseize is good. Let's Thoughtseize them first. Okay, they have Show and Tell. This card gains a bunch of life, which they can't cast. They don't have the mana. I think I just take the stock up. And then I'm just going to ponder here. What can we find? Force Negation is quite good. Let's take that. Okay, and I'm just going to hug, and we're going to pass. And we'll see if they can win. They get a bunch of life, so I may need to attack twice. Approach of the Second Sun. If they fetch, gains 7 life. So that'll put them to 11. Just going to force this. Just going to have 6 from here. I might need that time to get my attack in. They could have a Hardcast Force here. They're doing stuff just to see if they can get me to run out of time. I don't think they have any way to win. Okay, that was it. We did it. 13 seconds on the clock. That was a little bit touch and go at the end. I've never played against that deck before. Congratulations to COB and Ella1 as the first trophy holders of the league. It literally just started like a couple hours ago when they added the dragons, the Tarkir Dragonfire. I can't remember the name of the set. Round 2, we're up against the Eternal Weekend Europe champion. Wow. That's a lot of Leylines. Leyline of the Meek. Is there on the Leyline deck? I didn't actually mean to keep this hand. I was distracted by saying good luck, have fun, and I accidentally clicked on the keep. Wow. Holy cow. That's a lot of mana potentially. Because they've already got 4 devotion to white. Okay. Bring in the spice. Round 1. Okay, so it's worth noting that we can't endurance them. I don't know if that matters. We can't Thoughtseize them. Their creatures get +1/+1. I don't think this matters. We don't have a graveyard. That does matter. We're going to have to beat them down with endurance. We're probably never going to get enough mana to cast anything bigger than that. I am just going to look for a land here. Wasteland would be good for that Nyx thing. I think we should grab Trops so we can cast endurance a little bit sooner. Wasteland. These other cards are pretty bad, though. I think I'm going to shuffle this. We're in a bad spot. I should not have kept this hand. This may not be a serious deck that Larson's playing. He is the champion and he can afford to just play silly decks. Ancient Tomb. So he has a ton of mana here. The One Ring. Yeah, we're going to lose to this crazy deck that he's playing because I shouldn't have kept this hand. Apologies, my excellent friends. Expedition Map. I'm not sure what land he gets. If he has a Wasteland in his deck, he gets that and wins. Okay. So we're basically just playing to learn more about his deck at this point. If I pitch Murderous Cut, he'll know what I'm on. I don't think Fatal Push is going to matter. I don't want him to see what we're on. At least we can get through this game and learn a little more about his deck, even if without showing him too much about ours. The only deck that plays Murderous Cut really is Beanstalk. Bug Beans specifically. 4 white in the pool. Oh, this is that one deck. Is this the... Is he about to cast the spell that lets you dig your top 7? Opalescence. Okay. It's a heck of a way to go out. Being beaten down by Leylines. I think we've seen enough. Okay. So, good news. We have Force of Vigor in our sideboard. Okay. I think this is a Force of Vigor matchup if one has ever existed. I think Force of Negation is probably reasonable. Thoughtseize is pretty terrible against the... deck that can't be targeted. Endurance probably does not matter, but again, it is an answer to Leyline of the Void. Bowmasters is not great. I'm going to cut the cuts. It's possible that we could waste lock them if they don't have Leyline of the Void. So I don't want to cut my Witherblooms. Endurance is pretty bad against them. I don't imagine it does anything against them. I'd maybe rather have Bowmasters. I don't know. Endurance can actually maybe stand up to their creatures. If they're not drawing cards, Bowmaster's pretty bad. Yeah, I think they may have metagamed it against us. I mean, we have Force of Vigor. We can always get rid of their Leyline of the Void, and then that unlocks our Murktide. I think I'm going to cut a land. I seriously doubt they have anything that goes after non-basics, but I'll cut a Swamp. I'm going to keep these Fatal Pushes in. The reason I'm keeping them in is because... they can potentially push those creatures if they have a quick Opalescence. This is not a great hand. This is another Island Ponder hand. I am going to keep this because this has double force. And they are a pretty all-in type deck. But we could easily get punished by this. They mulled to 6. Yeah, I think if there's a game 3, I want to cut the pushes. Maybe just add some Bowmasters. Bowmaster's not great, but... okay, what is this? These are the white Leylines. Uh-oh. The Guild Pack one. All right, no land. Wait. Yeah, no land. Interesting. All right, but their lands can tap for any color now. These cards, when they become creatures, are extremely powerful. Oh. I think I got confused and I just passed through my turn. I'm sorry, this is a comedy of errors, friends. I apologize for the incredibly bad plays. Yeah, but I did just click through my turn like a fool. Okay. These are fine. Hedge Maze is not bad. We can start filling up our graveyard. I can surveil. I could potentially brainstorm and then surveil the Fatal Push into the yard. So I'll leave it on top for now, just so I have lots of blue cards for my force pitches. I think we just let them resolve this. They don't know what to name. They're going to name Force of Will, but I can just pitch cast that to... I can force negate and pitch it. They have 2 cards left in their hand. Yeah, they did name Force of Will. This generates tons of mana. They've got tons of mana, but nothing to do with it, as far as I can tell. Is this it? Yep, I'm going to force that. Definitely don't want that resolving. Larson said, boo. Yeah, I enjoy drawing your random ley lines. I guess they do have the mana to cast the ley lines now, technically. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do, I already said what I was going to do, which is brainstorm. And then I'm just going to bin the Fatal Push. So we'll draw this next turn. And binning Fatal Push is better than just shuffling the deck because we won't draw it later. And I don't really think I should have left it in my deck. I think that was a mistake. There's the Saga's kind of annoying. They will be able to create constructs here. It's important to note that we can block those constructs. I could just Endurance and... Well, I'll do that later. I'm going to go ahead and do this first. Beanstalk. There's the bargain. We could, for mana efficiency, go ahead and just grab a land here and ponder. I think we should grab a Trop so we can cast Endurance. I mean, I think this is fine. I don't want this island. So I'll take the Force Negation now, and I have double Force Negation up in case we need to get into a force fight. I'm really hoping to ambush one of these Saga constructs before it gets huge. Oh no, we're going to die. We're going to die to these constructs. Leyline of Hope. If you would gain life, you gain that much +1. As long as you have at least 7 life more than your... Okay, so this shouldn't actually matter. I don't think they have a way to gain life. They might have something that they can do to search. Yeah, I'm going to let that resolve. Okay. Okay, so I'm tempted to just go ahead and Rakshasa first. And I might be able to find a wasteland. Black, blue, green. My daughter just called my son a monster. She said, "You monster." All right. So, we ripped the island. I should have shuffled that away. I'm sorry. That was a misplay. It won't be a misplay if we find a wasteland and we can waste that and they only get 1 construct. Or if we can find a Witherbloom command. We did find a wasteland. I want the wasteland. I think I want the other bargain. We're just going to take a hit. So if we waste here, they can get 2 constructs out of it. I don't want them to get even more constructs. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Getting some weird matchups today. Okay. They can create their dude. Let's see. Oh, wait. Lands you control. Okay, this doesn't have any colors, right? Construct is all colors. Okay. So they need the actual Draco is the one that gives them the abilities. Freaking pool. That's a lot. What are they going to do with all that? Oh, no. What if they go get freaking Retrothopter Foundry? What a beating that card would be. March of Otherworldly Light. I mean, I would like to keep that. I'm going to bargain again next turn. I don't care about this brainstorm. This brainstorm does put back stuff. Okay, and now they get their search ability. They get a construct. Let's see what they get. Yeah, we're so dead. We're so dead. I think if we find Force of Vigor, we're in an okay place. We're like still alive. My goodness, this is such a beating. Because they have so much mana. We're going to take 6 here. So we're like literally digging for Force of Vigor to survive. I think that's the only thing that saves us. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Yeah, I don't mind losing to the world champion on his incredibly weird deck that I've never played before and may never play again. Endurance chumps for a turn, but I don't think it matters. They have so much mana. Yeah. Owned. Destroyed. Annihilated. All right, we're 1-1. See you in round 3. All right, round 3. We're up against an unknown opponent for a 20 land deck. Our deck sure is stingy about giving us lands. Okay, this is doable. Again, unknown opponent. Do they mulligan? If they mulligan, I'm going to mulligan this. And I'm going to assume they're on oops because it's just like by far the most common deck right now. Okay. They're keeping a normal, sane hand probably, and so shall I. I'm going to put back this trop. And then we've got a pretty diverse hand. Brainstorm can easily fix this. I don't know what I'm looking for, so I'll just not look for anything right now. Okay, I got a fetch land. Love to see fetch lands because that means we're not up against a stompy deck. Volk. Channeler. She's in. Do you have the god hand with the bobble? No. If we are patient, we can just push her around days, and I think that's what I should do. I'm going to surveil. Cut is good, but it's definitely like a later card. Put this in here. Yeah, I think we just bin it. There's the bargain. That's a good card. I think I'm just going to go ahead and fetch and push now. I'm not going to mess around and get fancy. There's a high likelihood that they waste me off one of my colors. They could force to protect this. Okay. The heat is off. I'm so happy to be playing against Delver. I think we have a pretty good Delver matchup. Not as good as like the 4-color beans that has access to plow and Leyline binding, but still pretty good. We're not getting wasted. I'm going to be very patient with these cards. I'm not going to just fire off a brainstorm willy-nilly. Okay, they're passing. They get their card. Thank goodness they didn't have that last turn. Merc is great. I'm going to start with a Beanstalk. Or, I'm sorry, a Brainstorm. We did not find land. This is not good for us at all. This is pretty scary. So we're not going to be able to cast Bargain. I think I just go like this. I might need this next turn. I can play this out. And I just want to wait a turn cycle and then Brainstorm to get deeper. If they really don't waste us, then I could Merc next turn. Wouldn't necessarily be bad. But I don't want to Merc into a daze and lose my entire graveyard. We're not going to Merc because they're definitely going to cut us off one of our colored sources. With this deck, I like to make land drops every turn, even if we're not we're almost certainly not going to have a land drop next turn. We could. This is great for us. Like really, the only thing I'm fearing is Wasteland at this point. If we stick a Murktide, it's going to be pretty big, and I might force to protect it. It'll be bigger than the Murktide they can produce. I'm going to do it. Blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be a 6/6. They could Unholy Heat this. They're forcing. Tells me they don't have a ready-made answer for it. Which tells me I am going to force right back. I'll pitch the Bargain. I want to use that, of course, but I also want to like Brainstorm, and I don't want to get stuck with like if they do waste now, we could be in trouble and not be able to find enough mana to cast it. A Merc of their own. It'll be smaller. Wait, how's this 6/6? I must have miscounted. Yeah, they had force palm. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna be staring at each other. And wait, I have a Merc of my own on top, don't I? Okay, that'll break it open. So we could. What's the best thing we find? Maybe like a Beanstalk. I think I'm gonna try to live in that world where we draw a Beanstalk. Thoughtseize is not really something you want to cast against a Lightning Bolt deck. Gosh, it's just brutal. But I can deploy the Tamio here. I don't ever want to draw that. I'm going to Wither Bloom, assuming they don't waste me next turn. Let's put this back here. Doesn't really matter. I will play out Tamio. Just in case they start attacking, I can at least create clues when I hit back. This might draw a bolt too, which is fine. This bolt is not going in my face. Later she can chump block. So what we're going to do is we're going to Wither Bloom. We probably won't hit a land because at least 2 of our top 3 cards are non-land. But we will get some material that we can use to feed to the Merc. And if we have the bigger Merc, then we'll be in a good position. I'm just going to chill because they're not near being able to deploy a second Merc, and I don't want to get into punching each other in the face contest yet. If they have Unholy Heat, that's bad. Okay, that's fine. Wow, they're doing it. All right. I'm going to let it through because we're going to Merc pretty soon. Okay. So what I think we do is we go ahead and green, black, Witherbloom. I don't want this dazed. I'll take 2 of their life. I mean, I guess it makes sense to attack. I shouldn't be surprised that they're attacking here. Okay. We did not find a land, which is a bummer, but we do have plenty of tasty material next turn. I think there's no point in holding back. I'm just going to swing. They have another Murktide. We're in big trouble, but we're going to have a big Murktide next turn that can block. In fact, both of our Murktides will be massive. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they'll both be full-size Mercs. All right. Brazen Borrower could be pretty bad here. All right, land. I'll take it. It's possible they have double days. It's unlikely. Not going to risk it. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. Blue, blue. This is just lethal. That's nice. Okay, good. So Murktide is one of the best defenses against Murktide. And I'm happy to be playing a deck. Like, I think of all the decks you can play that leverage the power of Murktide, Delver's probably the number 1, but this is a very good candidate as well because it's Beanstalk. Oh, we have Endurances. Those are good. Okay, so I don't think Wasteland is particularly strong against them. Hydroblast comes in. I don't like bringing in Bowmasters. Bowmasters, yes, it can occasionally ping the creatures, but we can cut these Thoughtseizes. So they're nice, clean substitution. Bowmasters can occasionally ping their creatures, but like it doesn't block in the air, and you're rarely the aggro. You're almost always trying to stay alive. All right, game 2. This is a snap keep. Carpet is insane against their deck. Huge part of their game is resource denial. We will have a cut on the way. We can just kind of like churn through some brainstorms if we need to. All right. So they have a daze. It's very bad for us. Not going to be afraid. It's in. I'm going to go ahead and feed it. I want to brainstorm here. Okay. These are good cards. I want to shuffle away Hedge Maze. And I will draw the Merc, I guess. I feel very favored already. I don't know how many things they have in their deck to get rid of this. They're not playing black, so they don't have access to Molten Collapse. Delver didn't flip. That's also nice. So I think what we do here, we fetch, we Hydroblast, and then we cut. They've been to Wasteland, which makes sense. They only have 2 cards or 3 cards left in their hand at this point. And we'll take our 1. I do want to get Murktide out, but we get 2 mana. They're both going to be blue. Okay, we know we have a bad card on top. I think I want to go ahead and start by fetching. Then I can Hydroblast. Let's go ahead and... I'm not going to get basics. We do have a basic island in the deck. That's it. I have to not to include... Oh, wait, I do have a swamp. Holy cow, I forgot I didn't kept a swamp here. I think at this point, it's okay to just grab the non-basics. But actually, getting the swamp in case they have Price of Progress, it may make sense. And we do have access to the basic island as well. So I think, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and blast. Okay, and now we could brainstorm. I think I'm just going to cut here. I'll leave a Hydroblast in the yard just in case I need to buy it back later. We have blunted their onslaught for sure. If they Merc, we don't actually have a good answer to Merc immediately. They could Merc. It wouldn't be very big, though. It'd be a 5/5. Okay. Delver number 2. DRC number 2. Okay. So they've got quite the offensive here. I think we want a bargain. So I'm going to add blue here. We're going to go green, black, bargain. This will help fill up the yard. Hydroblast seems insane. And Beanstalk's quite good with Merc. It sucks to put these in the yard, but they are food for subsequent Merc. Just going to hit that. Okay, and now I think we do want to go ahead and just grab the island. And no, I'm going to grab another Trop. And then I will ponder just for filling up the yard. And I'm looking for... What am I even looking for? I mean, Force seems pretty good. Just in case of something emergency like, but what kind of emergency are we even worried about? I think when you, I think this is just a Force. And I'll keep the Hydroblast on top. So next turn we have Beanstalk into Murktide. So I'd rather not cast the Force this turn if I can avoid it so I can get a card off of it. I think I'm getting lucky, but this also feels like a pretty good matchup. They do flip. They reveal Daze, okay. Unless it's Hearse. Daze is in their hand. We just have to let this happen. They can exile some cards, but we're still going to have a big Murk. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to add blue. So we're going to go green, Beanstalk, draw trigger. So now we can pay for Daze. Murk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Biggest Murk possible. Draw trigger. They scoop. That felt very clean. So again, we're 2-1, losing only to like my own idiocy, frankly. I skipped a turn and I kept a hand I shouldn't have kept. Both against the world champion. Super embarrassing. But the deck feels great. Man, this revenge card or this bargain card is just sick. It's precisely the kind of value that this deck needed to just really pull ahead. It feels very powerful. See you in round 4. All right, we're up against an unknown opponent in the 4th round. This hand seems fine. I'm going to keep it. It's got the Tamio Brainstorm combo. We're on the play. So we can just open Tamio, bait their interaction. Then we can Brainstorm, put away whatever redundancy we have in our hand, maybe a Murktide, once we have a little more information about what their deck does. I just ate a bunch of freaking, Sichuan, like, numbing peppers. Don't ask me why I'm eating those, but I just found a bowl. I wanted to eat something. And yeah, not the best thing to eat while you're trying to talk. Okay, Flood of Strand. Not Oops All Spells. Seems like a pretty reasonable thing to draw. Let's go in for a hug. I kind of like keeping our options up instead of flipping her. We're in no hurry. They could, be a plow deck. I'm getting Nadu vibes here. Our opponent has played Nadu in the past. It's not a complete unknown opponent. Green Sun Zenith for 1. I mean, my instinct is to just force this. And I think I am. This is probably going to go get the one that makes uncounterability or removes target ability. What's it called? Sylvan Safekeeper. Now I can just crack this. We'll get a Trop. Beanstalk. Love to see it. Right, so I think we'll just come in for a hug. This could be the turn we flipper. I kind of want to Brainstorm first before I Beanstalk. I mean, technically Beanstalking helps us see the most cards. You want to do that. They may have a Force of their own. Yeah, they do. Okay, so I think now I'm just going to go ahead and Brainstorm to flipper. Because I'm going to want to regrow that Force. Not great. So we'll put back the Swamp for sure. I think what I want to do next turn is just waste and then probably Witherbloom and hopefully kill like a Nomad or something. We can pitch this to Force if we need to. They find a Nadu, it's really bad. Like if they have it. I think one of the reasons I think Witherbloom is more important next turn than going ahead and Rakshasa's bargain is it does take us deeper and it does allow us to waste and potentially have like a fatal push up. Whenever I say push up, I think of like those pops that like, remember you used to like put your thumb underneath it and you push it up and it was kind of like a glue stick. Push up pops. Yeah, those are good. All right, Nadu time. The Fairy. Well, that is surprising. They can just get our clue out of there. Yeah. All right, so I definitely want to waste and then probably regrow and drain. I just, we can't leave them with that mana. They're not threatening us in any way. We could go ahead and keep going upstairs. I think I'm going to do that. Let's go black, green, Witherbloom. I mean, like we're totally naked here. We have very little going on. We have value. I'm going to get the Wasteland back. My main hope is that like maybe we can stall them out, and if we Tamio, we don't have anything that can immediately remove this in our deck, unfortunately. We don't have like a Bowmasters or anything like that. We will need to Murk. Now they have a protected Nadu, but like they don't have the ability to fetch an island here. So they may wait. Thoughtseize seems freaking legit. I think we Thoughtseize first. We see what they have over there. And then we can regrow the Thoughtseize if we need to. which I do think is better than necessarily winning. Okay, so now they have Island. What is this? Brainstorm. Okay, so we are going to get to waste their Trop, which is nice. And what I'll do is I can't regrow a Force because they've got Teferi. If I regrow Witherbloom command, I get a free mana that I can use for Rakshas Bargain. That's great. Okay, we'll take this. All right, let's go ahead and regrow Witherbloom command. We get a green mana, or any color. Yeah, I think we bargain here, just because it increases the likelihood of us finding like removal. It seems more impactful than Witherbloom. We can Witherbloom next turn. So I'll just add black here. We know our opponent's hand is all land. They can draw a Nadu, but they can't draw... Let's take a look at their hand one more time. So their hand is just Karakas with Windswept Heath, Tundra. They could play out the Karakas and use it to defend Nadu once they get Nadu on the table. I think I just want to get green here. Sure. Yeah, I am going to go after the land still. And we'll go blue, black, blue, bargain. This is much nicer when you have a Beanstalk out. However, I think we just take the bargain again and we take the Merc. Next turn we can waste and Merc. Yeah. And I'm just going to assume that we're probably not going to get a window to force for a few turn cycles. But it's worth noting that we can waste them again next turn if we need to. So next turn I could Witherbloom to get back to the land. Sylvan Safekeeper. Okay. Plussing. Teferi will be able to bounce the Merc. Sadly. They can use this to target Nadu. Options. If we could bargain again, we could also brainstorm and shuffle away the Witherbloom. We're looking for, like, so if we find, like, multiple ways of targeting this, I really want to find a freaking up the Beanstalk. I'm not sure if we have time. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and start by brainstorming here, just to see what we find. So Fatal Push, they sack. Murderous Cut, they sack. Then they don't have enough mana to do anything. And then we just get the Wasteland back. I think that could work. We'll put this Tamio back. We do need to actually deal with the Teferi on the table. But I want to see if I can get some land gone first. I can put this on... well, I don't want to shuffle that away. Yeah, I'm going to put the Witherbloom back in the deck. Oh no, I can't actually do this because they give it Shroud and I can't respond with another instant, sadly. Oh, this is rough. Yeah, I didn't think about that before I played this because I want to regrow the Wasteland and waste them. Anyway, I'm just going to waste, or I'll Fatal Push and they'll use one of their lands and that's fine. Oh, they let it go? Interesting. Okay, well that's great for me. Now I'm just going to Merc and they're going to have to bounce 2, 3. It's not going to be very big. I don't think it needs to be big. I'm almost certain they're going to just bounce it. Because if they don't bounce it, then my Teferi kills it. And I'm just going to plus here so I don't lose my Tamio. Okay, so they didn't have what they wanted on top. I thought they had... Wait, no, they could have drawn Nadu. So Nadu's still on... So if they don't have a Force, though, we will be able to cut Nadu. And make our Murktide a lot bigger in the process. They are opting to bounce. Okay. So Forces are back on. We could regrow a Force here. Halfling. I'm going to cut Halfling and regrow the Force, I think. Let's think about this. Endurance doesn't do what we need it to do. I think the first step is to Merc again. Blue, blue. I'm going to exile some of these cards that we don't want. We could just regrow the Thoughtseize and then we don't have to force pitch. Kind of like doing that. Do it like that. Blue, blue. Yeah, I think we regrow Thoughtseize. That makes our Merc bigger. Now I'm going to Thoughtseize. They're plowing. That's fine. Their last card is Tundra. Okay, they didn't have anything. They could still have stuff. Is it worth cutting? I kind of think it is. Just that's their blue source in case they draw 90. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It's dead. They've got nothing going on. They've got a land in hand. No, wait, they've got a Tundra in hand. That's a blue source too. So that was kind of a dumb play. Sorry. I didn't sleep well. I'm making up with lame excuses. Okay. There's the Tundra that we knew about. Did they draw gas? They drew a Ponder. That's quite gassy. It's also worth noting that I think did I mill a Trop? Yeah, my last, well, I have both the Bayou and the Hedge Maze, but I'm going to need one of them. Also, I've been thinking really hard, perhaps making bad plays despite thinking very hard, and my clock is kind of low. I'm at 14 minutes to their 20. Okay, so we're going to plus Tamio. We're going to bargain. Blue, black, green, bargain. They don't have the mana of the Hardcast Force. So we find. I think Fatal Push and Thoughtseize are fine. I think I'm going to take they did play out the Tundra. I'm going to Thoughtseize them. Let's go do this. This is just a land. It's an Uro. Well, that's not good. They can bring back Uro. They don't have double blue. Okay, that's good. All right. Nadu is annoying. We don't technically have a good way to turn on Revolt here. I can just regrow the cut and then cut. Wasteland is pretty good because we can cut them off blue and make it harder for them. Oh, wait. This is perfect. I'm just going to waste. This turns on Revolt. Now let's push. They get a card trigger. It is... Okay, they get a second trigger because of Crocus, because I'm a dum-dum. I should have wasted the Crocus. Oh my goodness. I totally missed that. I apologize. You're screaming at me in the comments right now. That was really dumb. Now they have a Nomad in core. We have to regrow the Thoughtseize and take the Nadu, unfortunately. Yeah. This is like really the only thing I can do at this point because of my punt. My daughter's making fun of me because she knows that I screwed up really big time. Okay, we'll take the Nadu. Yeah, that was so dumb. That was so inexcusably dumb. And now our time is so far away from ultimating or doing anything. I wanted to get back this, which I would have even been able to cast, but I didn't want to risk them having the combo. They could still have the combo. Okay, that comes out. They actually didn't have a blue source for the combo. Yeah, so maybe it was... Okay, and this gives us endurance. So what I'm going to start doing is just jamming endurances and hoping that we can get this game over before I make too many more punts. Sorry, my excellent friends. I'm trying to play tight. I'm just... yeah, please come in for an attack. Okay. So their hand, that does give them... There's no point in attacking. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this in. We'll hide their graveyard. I'm not sure actually if they use it. Yeah, they have Uro in their graveyard. We should go after their graveyard. Okay, we're just going to go green, green, colorless, endurance. We can do this both turns, and then we can just attack them to death pretty quickly. Put that Uro and like all those fetch lands and all those bad cards you don't want to draw, put those back in your deck. It does mean that they have green sun for stuff. Green stun for stuff. Yeah. Do we just want to ultimate Tamio to get ahead? Or minus Tamio to get the... yeah, I think it's fine. I'm going to do that. I'll just get her back. Get this back. We get a green mana. If we want, yeah, green. And then I'll go blue, black, bargain. Oh, wait, did I screw that up? I did. It's an instant. I know I've only been casting it as a sorcery. Beanstalk seems legit. Let's do that. And the Ponder. We can go ahead and... Did we draw any cards? I don't know. I'm going to play this out, and then I'm going to Beanstalk, and maybe we'll get a flip. I'm not playing the tightest, but I did want to demo this game, even though I didn't get a good night's sleep. I wanted to demo the new card. Force is a great rip. Now that we have... yeah, so now we can stop like whatever the nut draw is, and I'm confident we'll win this game. It's fine. We got another one. Caracas is fine. Coming in for a hug. I can potentially flip her, which I think is probably fine. It probably makes sense to do so. Go ahead and blue here. Ponder. We need to make sure we have a blue card for force at the end of this chain. Fatal Push does simplify things. I'm not opposed to it. So we just ponder again, and we get a blue card. Okay, and we did find a blue card, so I'll just take this brainstorm here. Tamio flips. We plus. Now we have Fatal Push and Force, and I think we're okay. Land. Our opponent's getting some really bad variants. They don't even bother attacking. I'm going to get rid of this just because it represents a chump. Hey, I guess I can just go ahead and get this back because it does so much. And we get like, we'll add some green, black, blue, bargain. Wouldn't mind taking, actually I can't get another green source to cast this endurance. I'm probably taking way more turns than I need to win, but I am going to win. I'll take like that. I'll play out a land. I will just pass. Okay, opponent has even more land. I'll go get the surveil. And then we can endurance and we can start it. Oh, I don't. Oh, man. I didn't realize I was so low on cards in my deck. Okay, well, I can't be. Well, I can just endurance stuff back into big a deal. Let's go ahead and just pass, and I will endurance. Yeah, I need a win game 2. I can't let there be a game 3 because I won't have time because I was dilly-dallying, and also my wife asked me to do some stuff before the game started. So it's my wife's fault. Every gentlemanly husband blames their wife, right? That is a joke. It is my fault. All right. Let's come in. I'm just going to clear their yard again. This is a force. That's fine. I will just force back. I think I actually do target my graveyard now just so I don't run out of cards. We get a card. All right. We're in. I'll just target my yard, and I'm just going to be attacking and passing in rapid succession. 3 attacks, and they'll be dead. We can clear the path if we need to. That's a great rip, but again, none of this matters because we're just trying to end the game quickly. I can always take the last 2 off with Witherbloom if I need to. I can even Witherbloom, regrow, Witherbloom, Witherbloom. That's what I'll do next turn. There's no reason to give him a turn. No thanks. Right. Draw trigger. Okay. We actually don't have enough green mana to do that. So I am going to need to... wait, actually... Yeah, I put a green source back in my deck, so I can do that. Oh, and I get a green whenever I Witherbloom. Okay, yeah, so there's no reason to give them another turn. Go green, black, Witherbloom. I'll just mill myself. I actively don't want to mill myself. I'm going to destroy that. And now we can just regrow it. Yeah, the reason I didn't want to regrow was because I was like, oh, I have to go get my other trop, but I can get the green off this. So black, cast, and I'll just, right. And that's the game. That took like 20 minutes. Okay, 8 minutes. 8 minutes to win another game. Let's do it. I think let's talk about the opposition here. They're on kind of like a Green Sun Zenith, like the old school Green Sun Zenith. Bowmaster's not terrible. That's a definite consideration. I think one of Digger's Cage is fine because it stops opponents bringing back Uro, and it also stops them from using Green Sun Zenith. So Witherbloom seems great. Thoughtseize is good. There's not really anything to cut, is there? They're not going to attack our mana, I don't think. Yeah, with that mana base, there's no way they're going to be trying to stick those cards against us. So we could cut some lands. 18 lands, that is a little low. I think I just cut the swamp. So we need to make some other cuts. Endurance is pretty weak against them. I know it did come up a couple times. It is a win con though. It's just pretty slow compared to Merc. I think I'm going to take out Tamio. And the reason I'm going to take her out is because she's slow. And we don't have time to be like cracking clues and like drawing half our deck and doing all this Tamio stuff. Like Tamio was the cause of my indecision. I blame you squarely, Tamio, for being such a Swiss Army knife of a card. Okay. Also, they are playing Karakas. So, yeah, I'm going to keep this. This is not a great hand, but it does have interaction for creatures, which is the main thing we have to stop. They mull a 6. They know they have literally twice as much time on their clock as we do. Like almost exactly twice as much. Right now it is. Okay, it's not anymore. Strand. I will push a halfling. I will not push that. I will poke that with a Orcish Bowmaster. This means that I think there is a risk of them having the turn 2 Nadu, but they wouldn't be able to turn 2 with combo, so I'm just going to ponder here. I'm going to look for a force to go with this bargain. Do we need more land? We technically do. Yeah, I think I'm going to put the island on the bottom, and I'll just take this land, and then we'll pass. Bristly Bill is cool, but I can just push him. All right, landfall. They can buff their creature. That's not that big of a deal. We can no longer poke to kill. Soul Guide Lantern's fine. I don't use my graveyard for... Well, actually, I do use my graveyard for a few things, so... All right, my daughter wants me to go watch One Piece with her. I must oblige her. I think we just push the Bill. We could wait, and maybe he buffs Bill further, and we have Bowmaster up. We can still Bowmaster ambush. I just want to wait and see what happens here. If he attempts to... If my opponent attempts to activate Soul Guide Lantern, I can poke. Okay, so I think that this is an unfortunate situation where we do want to go ahead and just push Bill now. Okay, so this resolves. And if they have the follow-up Nomad, we just concede. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and surveil. I was going to take that Ponder, but I think it's fine. I'm looking for more proactive cards. This is actually fine because we can waste that creature land, and then we have enough to push. Yeah, I'm going to go for this real quick. We waste the Arbor. Uh-oh. That doesn't work, does it? Because they get a trigger off of that? I'll just waste something else. Waste their Tundra. I'm just going to... And I'm going to hope that they don't have a force. Otherwise, I'll just concede. Because they're going to be very close to the combo. They got free land off of it. Ready to concede if you force. The game goes on. All right. They're probably going to activate Lantern to draw deeper. We survive. No, they're going to... Yeah. So we've survived the first wave. I think at this point, like, I give away some information if I have 6, but I'm so low in time. Coming in for a hug. Next turn, we do have endurance and we can start beating down. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a plow. This is pretty good rip. Pretty good. I think I want to... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this first. And then I can ponder to see if I can find a force. And these are all fine. I don't really want to shuffle these away. I'll do it like that. And then next turn I can go ahead and Beanstalk again. It's just a slow path to victory, but it is value. It's hard to turn away the kind of value we're going to be generating off of Raksasa's Bargain. It's going to take me a while to get that name down. Like the purpose of this video is really just to show you, like, okay, is Raksasa's Bargain a good card? And I think we've already established that it's an extremely flexible card. The fact that you can get it back with Tamio and get a free mana for your trouble because it's green. I mean, like stuff like that, that's pretty badass. So yeah, I'm definitely loving this card so far. Yeah, so I'm not really worried about the 2 each turn. It is a body for Nadu if they start Naduing off. I'm going to go ahead and just do this again. We can be pretty confident that the card we're going to get is... I can't remember. Oh, yeah, it's another Raksasa's Bargain, which I think we take. And then I can just pass and I can block ping here or I can Fatal Push, depending on what they do. Uh-oh, here he comes. Oh, this is fine. Well, I'm just going to do this. Let's grab another... Don't really have the luxury of thinking about this, but I will grab an Underground Sea. I'm just going to black. And they can plow to save their Arbor here if they want. All right, let's go ahead and hit that. All right, so it's dead. And now what I do is I just Endurance, and they have no graveyard. Their plan B's off. There's the Nomad. That's fine. I'll plow and I'll push. I'm just going to leave 0 room. Wasteland's not bad. So let's start by pushing. Then I'm going to go ahead and take them off. This is their only white source. We'll take them off that. Then we're going to go green, green, blue. We don't have to do this, but they could have something next turn. Just hit that. Then I'm going to come in for a hug. And the beats downs are in session. We're going. Next turn, we can draw a lot of cards. Even if they remove the Beanstalk, please use mana for cantrips. Nothing? Interesting. Why would they start to tap? Maybe they're just holding the Brainstorm. What's this? Oh, an Endurance. That's fine. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do this. Green, blue, black. 4 minutes on the clock. I can't get attacks until I clear this thing. That's good for later. We could Thoughtseize and we could play a land. I think that's fine. And then next turn, we'll just... Oh, I don't want that. I want the Thoughtseize and the land. Yeah. I'm going to play this out. I'm going to Thoughtseize. We're filling up our yard pretty quickly with the goal of having a big mark arrive next turn. I'll take the Nomad because that is the combo piece. They don't have the white mana. And maybe it's better to take the Ponder and leave them with the Nomad. I may come to regret that. But they would need 2 things this turn, next turn. And I'll just Rakshasa Bargain every turn for the rest of the game, and eventually I'll be able to strip that Nomads from their hand or push it. Okay, Force is a great rip. Let's go ahead and go green, black, blue, bargain again. I have to choose the colors. Thoughtseize is a great rip. I think we take Fatal Push, Misty Rainforest. Okay, yeah, and we've like totally won. I would be stunned if they can come back from all this value we're throwing in their face. Let's go ahead and Thoughtseize first. To make sure they don't have like a Force blue card they magically drew. Green Sun is probably a bigger problem. Let's hit that. Now I'm just going to Fatal Push here. Now we'll come in for our hug. We have Force blue card, which will cantrip us. We have Murktide, which will cantrip us and kill them in 1 turn. This deck is awesome. This is a really strong deck when you're not piloting like crap. Like, this is like banning the banning of Sowing Mycospawn combined with the release of Rakshasa's Bargain. Like, I think this, like I was playing without this yesterday and it felt like a tier 1 deck. And I feel like with this card, Beanstalk is now tier 1. That's just how it feels. Wow. Don't mind if I do. Let's go ahead and come in for a hug. I don't know what they could possibly draw at this point. The fact that this is an instant, I haven't even been casting it as an instant just because, like, mana seems to be kind of like a limitation of the deck. Like, it's possible that we want another carpet in the sideboard. I'll do the deck tech after round 5. My opponent said, I did not have luck and I did not have fun. Lol. GG. All right. So we got this one. So we are 3-1. Again, losing only to the world champion, like the European legacy champion from Eternal Weekend, who's a great guy. And yeah, I do beat them occasionally. Anyway, I'm going to go watch some One Piece with my friends. You can see, like, some of these we haven't even lost a game. So the deck feels amazing so far. I'm looking forward to playing it some more. Right, we're back for the final round against an unknown opponent with a very strong hand. Look at this. Also, my kids are... So I'm going to talk very lightly. Yeah, this hand is like resilient to pretty much anything. I'm pretty hyped. I was just going to wake up and do this the next day, but this card just came out. I want to get it live today if I can. This is looking very much like a Reanimator deck. Echo of Eons. Go for it. You know you want an LED Echo. Please. All right. Well, that didn't work. So, Echo of Eons. We have a few options. One option is to just ponder and try to find a second force effect. I kind of like doing that rather than Tomioing. Tomio will flip, but it doesn't really matter if we don't have a graveyard. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and just Underground Sea or... You know what? I think I'm actually just going to chill here because I can brainstorm, put back stuff, and they may not go for it. And if they don't go for it, I don't want to do anything here. I mean, it was an error to fetch, but just because you made an error doesn't mean you should compound that. Okay. Here we go. Let's see what they do. Thoughtseize. All right, so we essentially have one option here. We have 2 options. One, we could just force this, and that forces them to operate in the dark. The other option is we could brainstorm and try to find a second force. I'm tempted to just force this so they don't know if they're safe to go for it. Put your ponder here. Now they don't know what we're doing over here. They could like pact or something. You could just Thoughtseize a second time. Mox Opal, okay. Now there's the LED. We'll let this happen. Okay, there's the blue mana. Their hand is in the graveyard. Let's see what we can do here. If we can find a force effect, we've just blown them out. No! Well, it doesn't matter. I think all this is going to get shuffled. Yep. Yeah, so the protected turn 2. Galvanic Relay. It looks like they're just on the Epic Storm, which it's not like a fantastic matchup, but I don't think it's atrocious. Right. So they've got 2 floating. They've got the Opal. We did find a force here. Next turn, we can't really do anything other than waste them. So I will force just hoping we can find a green source for the Beanstalk. They have a Thoughtseize. It's totally safe to fire it off on us, unfortunately. They have 7 Storm. We're at 18 life. So we do need to force cards like Burning Wish. They can wield themselves into non-functional hands. So it's not like it's a guarantee that we're about to get destroyed here. One thing they could do is if they find a red source, they could Galvanic Relay for a ton. Get 8 cards. That'd be pretty strong. Opal's still not on. This is the Dark Ritual. So if they just have Tendrils, we're dead here, but I can't force a Dark Ritual. They haven't seen any new cards. 9 Storm. So we could force one of the copies of Tendrils and go down to 1 life. So they could have Veil here. I think this is a force. And they could just still win, you know. But this makes it harder for them to win. Okay, Chrome Mox. Now they have Mox Opal on. Are we going to go for another spin? What are we doing here? Yeah. So Mox Opal is on. Okay, Dark Ritual. Okay, so they just have Storm. Oh no, is this Peer into the Abyss? Burning Wish? Okay, now they just had it. Yeah, they had a lot of mana. Not embarrassing to lose to Storm in such a way. Like, I don't regret forcing the Thoughtseize because that could have messed with their plans. Tendrils. Okay, yeah, we can concede here. All right. So the advantage that we have is that we know what they're on. They don't really know what we're on. They did look at our hand. They didn't see the Beanstalk. I think Endurance comes out. I don't think it's good here. I think Bowmaster actually comes in. I think it's good enough. Force of Vigor could come in. It's not great. I think these are the cards we want to bring in. Just cut all the creatures. If they're on like the actual factual Epic Storm, they're not going to have any creatures. We have permanent destruction in Witherbloom. I don't think we necessarily need to bring in Force of Vigor for this matchup. We can cut some lands. They're not going to disrupt our basics, so I'll just take my basics out. The Wastelands still play. Tamio can draw us into action in a start out board state. I think I actually am going to keep a land in. I'll take out a Wasteland. I'm not sure if the Epic Storm is currently playing. You can bring in Grafdigger's Cage, by the way, to deal with it. And Endurance can deal with Echo of Eons, but like only in very specific situations. This hand doesn't do anything. I'm going to mulligan. I mean, this is a fine hand. It's like an early Bowmaster and then even a follow-up Bowmaster. But if they have an explosive hand, we're not doing anything. Actually, I think they may assume that we have a force. The odds of us finding a force. Okay, so let's think. We have 53 cards, 8 hits. Okay, 3 cards. Let that brainstorm. We only have a 40% chance of finding it if they turn 1, but that's still not that bad odds. I'm not going to say I like those odds, but I think they're okay, and we could, assuming they're not going to turn 1 us. Yeah, but why would we think that long for like a hand that can stop a turn 1? The main issue is we don't have any lights out cards against them. Like they can overcome if the game goes long. They can gradually outmuscle us because their discard effects are 1-for-1s and our Force of Wills are 2-for-1ing ourselves. So we'll eventually run out of cards if we have to fight. Like if the game goes on long enough, they will eventually win. That's one of the reasons why these types of matchups are not nearly as favorable as a lot of people seem to think. I want to do the awkward in-step brainstorm because I want to shuffle one of these cards away. Holy cow, we would have gotten there. That's nice. Okay, so I'm going to hang on to the blue cards. I think we only need 1 Bowmaster. Yeah, I'm just going to do 1 Bowmaster. I think that'll crimp their plans enough. I think here we wait. Yeah, I want a Bowmaster just in case so I can at least start applying pressure. If they Thoughtseize, we'll just put the Bowmaster into play. So the issue is they're probably playing some number of both Thoughtseize and a Veil of Summer, both of which are extremely powerful against what we have in our hand. So I will definitely pitch the Murktide. You know what? I'm thinking about just, even if they force, going ahead and, or even if they Thoughtseize, just going ahead and forcing, just to preserve that we not show them that we have Bowmaster until maybe they attempt to resolve a cantrip, because I imagine they're running at least 8 cantrips in the deck. Dark Rit. I always let that resolve. You don't necessarily want it to resolve against like Oopsal spells, but here it's fine. So we have the option of just going ahead and deploying the Bowmaster, but then that gives them free reign. They could veil this. They don't. Just let it go. They have 3 black mana. Storm count is 3, I believe. 2. Opal's good. Petal's good. They're 1. Okay, there's Metalcraft. They're going to go for it. They're going for it. Song of Creation. I'm going to let this go. And then I'm going to Bowmaster once they start doing stuff. What's your last card? Dark Ritual? All right, so now they're going to have to race against this. They may be able to stop it. They may be able to get there. They're thinking about cracking the Lion's Eye Diamond with that on the stack. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. So I think we're likely to lose here. But we might be able to get enough pings that we limit what they can do. And keep in mind, every ping is like doing 2 because we're going to also swing with that Orc Army. They may be able to find a Veil. If they find a Veil, that's really bad for us, but they don't actually have any green mana for it currently. Land drop. If they find like a Brainstorm, they may have to be forced to cast it. They opt to just let the mana burn off. Wow. They have to discard their hand. Echo. All right. Not going to be casting that anytime soon. Well, they may actually do that. Okay. So I think what we want to do is find a interaction spell here. It can't be Thoughtseize. It really has to be. Yeah. I'm just going to see what I can find here. But like Force of Negation, Force of Will, either of those cards, basically it doesn't necessarily lock the game. I think Hydroblast is fine because we can just blast the Song of Creation and then the game will be over. They're not going to have the mana to flashback Echo unless they top deck an LED. Okay, we can swing in. Again, like they could potentially flashback Echo. Actually, wait, it's only 3 mana to flashback. Yeah, they could absolutely flash it back. If they find a Veil, they could flash it back, and then if they have the Veil, they could Veil with the trigger on the stack. I do think it was important to get rid of the Song of Creation, though. But we are going to get a full new hand, unless they have Veil right now. If they have Veil right now, then we're not going to get a full hand. Galvanic Relay. Okay, that's fine. So they're just Galvanic Relaying for 1. Gamble enter the exile zone. Okay. All right. So here we can Rakshasas. Trying to think if there's any reason not to just... I mean, the other thing is we could just jam this Murktide, but I think that's not correct. I think it is correct to hope to find an interaction spell here. We could also wait, and we could do this at instant speed. I don't think there's any harm in it. We'll have a little more information. They're not dead on board, but they're like so low in life functionally. A lot of their options are limited. I'm trying to think of what they would gamble for. Like they have a card that they'll discard. So they do have that gamble in exile. Let's think about this. If we counter this, they can still Echo because they have blue. Oh, wait, they don't have blue. I didn't think about that. They don't have blue. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and try to counter this just in case. All right, there's the Force. So we'll just take... I mean, there's no real reason to take the land. I'm just going to take the Force blue card. The game, I believe, is over. They still have the gamble in hand. They can put something in the yard, but I don't believe it matters. Because whatever they get with gamble will just be discarded. Discarded Wooded Foothills. They're just trying to thin their deck. Brainstorm's a great rip. Let's just come in. A little love tap. And no point in playing out Merc. We have 2 potential points of interaction up. This should be the game. Like, it's hard to imagine what they could draw here. Yeah, good game. Yeah, it was really important for me to make the conclusion that they didn't actually have access to blue. Like, if I hadn't made that assessment, I might have let the LED resolve. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, Force of Vigor is certainly an option, but it's not like they're playing like the Monkey Paw or anything like that. So Cage stops them from being able to cast the thing. It also stops them from being able to use Guy's Will. Is that worth playing? Is that worth putting in? I think we could What can we cut here to make room for? I don't want to cut any blue cards. I don't want to cut any lands. We could cut a Beanstalk. We're not actually using green for anything. We could cut Witherbloom. I think Witherbloom's probably okay to cut. Just to have this. I mean, this does have an impact. They have at least 4 cards. They have a lot of ways to go get the thing. And if we just resolve this, we shut that route off completely. I'm not actually sure that they're playing Besiege Samir. I presume they are because it's like such a good card. Holy guacamole, this is a good hand. Yeah, I think we just cage. And we hope they don't win through some other means. We don't have double blue for Merc. I'm just going to pitch Merc to force. They have to begin with 7 cards. All right. We have to hope that... and it's worth pointing out that they can still cast Echo from hand, but it costs 6 mana. But they can't cast it from the graveyard for the flashback cost if we Grafdigger's Cage. Bobble coming in. Immediately cashing it in to look at our top card. Okay. I think we just cage here. Whoa, that's good. That's very good. Okay, so I'll just cage. Double force hand. So we can let the thing resolve. We can waste them, which I'm looking forward to. And we can waste them and potentially pawn our next turn, depending on if they take one of our cards with force, we'll be down to 3 blue cards. So we'll only have 1 force effect. If they know that we have a force negation and not a force of will in hand because they thought Caesars, they can potentially time some of their effects around force negation to prevent us from being able to force. I'm going to let that resolve. Reducing their life total is fine too. They actually don't play that many lands. They play like maybe 14 lands. So it's possible cutting them off a recurring, like reusable land source will matter. And this is what I was talking about. They took force negation instead of force will. Interesting. Maybe because they think this is going to be a longer game and I might need to cast it later. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and waste them. And then I'm going to play Tamio. They'll know that I drew Tamio for turn, but that's okay. The reason I'm playing Tamio for turn is because I want to start cracking clues. That's how we'll pull ahead. We're not playing Null Rod. One of the reasons I don't like to play Null Rod in Tamio decks is they do shut off the clues. It's the same reason I'm not playing Pernicious Deed right now. Actually, I might have Pernicious Deed in my sideboard. I don't think it's the greatest right now. Let's see. No, I don't have Pernicious Deed. I went ahead and went with Force of Vigor instead. It's so crazy that they printed stock up and then like immediately afterward they printed this new card. This feels like a better stock up, almost like an instant speed that like puts cards into your graveyard. It doesn't let you look at 5. It only lets you look at 4, but it's so strong. All right, no lands. Thoughtseize. I think it's more important to Thoughtseize than it is to crack a clue. Thoughtseize is really good, especially when they don't have green to veil. Show me your secrets. All right, so Gaia's Will. No point in suspending that. In terms of reusable mana, I mean, their hand is just non-functional. They could Chrome Mox and print Gaia's Will. I think we just go after Burning Wish because Gamble doesn't do anything. They can't use cards from their graveyard. We go with Burning Wish, and they really just don't have a lot going on over there. Now, I do think I'm going to ponder because I'd like to have... Did I play a land this turn? I'm going to ponder just to fill up our graveyard faster. Holy cow, these are great. If they Thoughtseize us for some reason, then they can't take force. I mean, we don't really have that much to worry about, in my opinion. What I'm going to do is I'll just take the force negation. Next turn, I'm very much down to drop a Merc. We'll need a land for that. But I'm not going to pass up a force negation with blue cards underneath it. I'll probably take a turn off to just crack clues and get further through that pile. But we'll be back up to 2 forces. Yeah, Grafdigger's Cage is pulling some serious weight. They could have gone off if we hadn't played this. Because what they do is they go pedal, Chrome Mox, and then they gamble. That was a draw for turn. We could brainstorm into a land. We could flip Tamio with the brainstorm and Thoughtseize them again. I think both are fine lines. Yeah, if we get a land, it's good. Yeah, I think I'm cool with flipping her at this point. Because we're going to follow up with a Merc pretty quickly. Here's the Thoughtseize. I think we just Thoughtseize again. And we take maybe the Mox Opal so they don't get that mana. It's not like huge, but I think it's worth doing it. Oh no, we can't use Murk yet because we don't have enough. We don't have double blue. I guess I'll just crack a clue next turn. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now though. I just don't want to, now I can be confident they don't have Veil in hand. I can't be confident of that next turn. So yeah, I'll take the Opal. Next turn we'll draw back up to double force. We shouldn't need it this turn. We can regrow a Ponder and try to find a land with that. Okay, they're doing something here. Okay, they're embedding Gamble or probably embedding the green card. The guys will, yeah. 4 mana, 2 cards. Galvanic Relay. I am going to just let that resolve. That's about the most powerful thing they could do. Burning Wish, okay. They don't have a lot of mana, so we can take Solace that they may not be able to use all this. Let's take a look. They found a land. Abrupt Decay. Oh, Abrupt Decay does kill this. And then they can gamble. We can't stop the Abrupt Decay, but we can stop the gamble. They can Burning Wish. Yeah, it's not a luck. We could take the gamble out of their hand now. They could just cast it though. So I think we just have to regrow the force. I think we just keep going north. They can Abrupt Decay to kill this if we keep going north. I think that's fine. I don't want them to Abrupt Decay to kill the Grafdigger's Cage. So we got double force up and we've got Clue Crack. I want to find a land. If I can find a Wasteland, it's like doubly good. Okay, we did find a land. And so we can crack a clue into a Brainstorm. I want to hold this for later. So I'll do like this. Let's just pass. This is the big turn right here. My hope is that they go ahead and decay this if they're going to decay, but it is going to cost them one of their permanent mana sources. Well, no, they've got 2 lands. They'll be able to use one of these. This is an interesting game. I love the Epic Storm. I think it's a really cool deck. I enjoy playing against it a lot more than I enjoy playing against Opal spells. That's for sure. So this is their turn to deal with Tamio if they're going to deal with her. This is any non-land permanent. But like going after her is so conservative. I think they needed to be more proactive. What I would probably do if I were them is I would force, or I would hit this, and then I'd attempt to, well, let's see. They won't have the mana to gamble and put the card in their graveyard. They do have one more card in addition to gamble. Okay, they're cracking. Okay, so the option. I think this is a force. We have another force just in case. I think they're likely to Abrupt Decay this, and then we can just Murk. I think I'm going to go with this. Well, Force Negation can technically be cast next turn. I think no, I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and Force Negate this. And then if they Veil, I'll force it. And we'll just have nothing. If they Veil, that means they're not going to be able to decay. And then we'll draw half our deck. Next turn, we're drawing effectively 2 cards. The best 2 of the top 4 cards of our deck if we want. Or we're putting a lethal Murktide in it. You know you want to use this pedal and get rid of this. Come on. You know you want to do it. So the actual play to win is to go after our cage and ignore Tamio. They are going after Tamio though. That's fine. The bait was taken. The cage remains intact, meaning that the gamble they have in hand doesn't really do a lot. So we have so many instants and sorceries in our deck. I don't think we actually cast the Rakshasa. One of these days I'll remember. Rakshasa's bargain. I don't think we cast that. I think we just mark so we can beat them down. We'll have force. Blue, mark. Then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Giant Murktide. Make your move. If they have Veil, they may still, and they need a Veil and a blue source. They could gamble, put it in. No, they would need 4 mana or 5 mana to both Veil and gamble. I feel very confident that we're going to be able to find a blue card off of this, so I'm definitely going to cast this next turn if we don't have the force. Right? They're passing into their second main. The wistful passing. Like, maybe there is something here. Maybe there is. I don't know. I don't know what's in their hand. I will say never count the Epic Storm out. Right? This augurs very well for us. That does as well. And now we basically, assuming we have double blue card, we have double force. I'm just going to come in as attack. There's not really any reason to move. This is an instant. We can just get our double force up. Oh, they're not dead. They get a third turn. We may be able to find a Bowmaster. That changes the clock. Or a, yeah, that's fine. Or if we find a Witherbloom command can deal the final damage as well. Carpet of Flowers. Yeah, I mean, that's a good card. I guess they're, all the mana in the world is not good enough if you don't have the time to spend it. Green. Let's go ahead and use our powerful new spell. Probably the last time during this video we'll be casting it. Hydroblast and a double blue card. We could take the Thoughtseize, but I like just doing this. Now we get another card. Wow. Yeah, I'm just gonna, I don't know what danger there is in passing from this position. They're at 1 life. They can't even crack up fetch. This deck feels so strong. My goodness. I'm not even sure if I'm playing that great. I mean, it's gone up against a pretty broad range of decks. I just can't imagine like Jeskai or, yeah, I'm going to let them do this. They discard Wooded Foothills. Okay, that's a good thing to discard, I guess. Well, Summer. I'm going to force that. You have 1 card left. Good games. Well, that was a fantastic league, aside from the sloppy play, especially during round 2. But that's a 4-1. It felt great. Let's take a look at the list. Here is the list. You can see my sideboard guide again in the and a link to the deck, as always, in the video description. Again, the reason I always include the sideboard guide is because that's an essential part of the brewing process. Like, you really do need to be thinking about your ins and outs for each matchup. I love Endurance, and I'm so glad that like we now have a high enough green count that we can reliably play Endurance. Witherbloom seems pretty good. I like just using this as the answer to Bowmasters, along with our other, 6 removal spells. And just having the Bowmasters in the board, they are a very strong card, but they're really only good in some matchups. They're not very good in a lot of stompy matchups. The 4 force negations continuing to be well warranted with the amount of combo out there. I mean, this really is the best thing you can be doing against combo if you have access to like a high blue count. If you don't, you should just be probably playing Leyline of the Void. Cage continued to be exceptionally flexible. I like this better than Now Spellbomb right now in this list, because it does answer random cards like Echo of Eons from the graveyard. You can't nuke your opponent's graveyard with a Now Spellbomb in time. They have priority and they can cast it before you. If they discard it, they can cast it before you can remove it. Double Force of Vigor would have been insane had we had it in the weird Leyline deck. Again, I think Larson's just screwing around with that. I don't think that's a serious deck. I wouldn't be like, oh wow, like I should prepare for that. No, don't worry about that. That maybe that deck is good, but something tells me it's not good. Something tells me I just played like crap. The 3 Thoughtseize felt really good. One of the things about this is like there's a lot of mana. It's a very mana intensive deck. Like I would even argue you could go down to 2 Wastelands. So I'm going to make a new copy and I'll show you kind of some of the changes I would make. Okay, I thought really hard and I can't really think of any improvements to make, which is like, oh, I'm such a genius, whatever. But I think one improvement would be to just swap out the swamp for an underground sea. That may seem like weird, like what? Why are you taking out your basics? But like really, we don't use basics that much. We don't really care that much. We want to have the colors, right? This deck needs to have double blue pretty reliably for Murktide. It needs to have all 3 colors of this. One thing that's kind of cool about this is even if your opponent Blood Moons, you can still cast this for 5 mana if you have your basic island. But we've got the 3 Hydroblasts to deal with it. We've got Force of Vigors in the sideboard, which are really good because they can deal with Chalice and Blood Moon. So it's like you're going up to like 10 force effects against a Moon Stompy deck. Yeah, I'm not that worried about Moon Stompy. Maybe we'll see when we play against it. But what I am thinking is like it would be nice to have even more, dual lands. Because like pretty much everything in our deck is very color intensive. I think 4. Yeah, we have 4 of each color. I mean, this works out great. And if you look at the way the colors are distributed, it's pretty balanced. Like we actually want fewer black cards and more green cards, so we can support endurance and force of vigor. We don't care about pitch casting because the only good pitch cast card in black has been banned. Rip grief, dying for Entombed Sins. But what we can do is we could potentially remove one of these fatal pushes and play some other type of color like deck card. And I don't like playing like really mana intensive cards like Drowning in the Lock. It took me a while to think of the name of that card. Yeah, Drowning in the Lock is a good card. It's very flexible. It's a counterspell and it's removal, but it does cost 2 mana. The other thing I was thinking about was maybe taking out a Wasteland and just having 2 Wastelands in the deck instead of 3, but I think it's fine if you're running enough dual lands. The other thing, of course, we could do is we could play the Singleton Daze. But I mean, it's nice, but like it would have been good in that previous match. But like against Stompy, Daze is just so inconsequential. I'm kind of off Daze right now, unless you're doing like a pure combo, a pure tempo play. Like, which really I think Delver is the best option. I think if you're doing blue black, you probably shouldn't max out on Dazes anymore. It's just not as good as it used to be because there are decks like mine that are happy to just take their time. And you will encounter a lot more control than you were back with Sowing Mycospawn. So I think Sowing Mycospawn kind of took out Daze. Daze was a loser in that. I think Fatal Push was a winner in the sense that, you know, there aren't that many creatures that Fatal Push can't kill, but Plow can kill, other than the reanimation monsters and stuff. And we can kill those anyway with Murderous Cut. But, like, you could definitely cut this and go down to 5 removal spells. Certainly we are clearing our opponent's graveyard sometimes with endurance, so that could be a numbo. But if you were to do something like this, let me see if I even own one. I may not own one. Yeah, like if you put Dread in the Lock in here, that could be a replacement for Fatal Push. But Fatal Push, I love the efficiency of it. And we don't have to worry about a Chalice as much as a lot of decks because we do have 2 Witherbloom. The other thing I thought about doing was going up to 3 Witherbloom. Going up to 3 Witherbloom and down a Fatal Push, this does give you more reach with your Wastelands. It's like you virtually have 6 Wastelands, which is pretty good because, you know, like even though we're not trying to tempo people out, a lot of times, you get in situations where you just get free turns where they just don't have a land drop because you were able to waste them and you get a few turns where your opponent's doing nothing and you're advancing your game plan. This is good at destroying Chalice. This is pitches to both Force of Vigor and Endurance. I like it, and I like the fact that like practically like every combination of 2 lands other than Wasteland and Island is going to provide us the mana to cast this. Some people are playing this in the sideboard, but this deals with Bowmasters. This deals with Chalice. This potentially drains your opponent of life and gives you life. It potentially gets back a fetch land or a land that they wasted that you didn't want them to waste, like let's say you start running low on green sources in your deck, for example. Like a Delver deck, in theory, could completely waste you off of green or off black, right? You've got 4 black sources, but they can't do that as long as you're able to resolve Witherbloom even one time. Being able to get back a fetch is not nothing because it does increase your ability to just scrabble around. Yeah, those are just some of my thoughts. You could go up to 4 Tomio. I think 3 is the right number here, and I could see people playing 2. I could also see people playing main deck Bowmaster, but if you think about the matches we played today, like how many of them would Bowmaster have been like a particularly relevant game object? Yeah, like we're not even boarding these in against Delver, I don't think. And that may be wrong. Leave a comment with your opinion if you think like you should always board in Bowmaster against Delver, but I feel like we've already got Delver covered. Like we just cruised through that Delver matchup. And we'll have to play a lot more. I mean, this card was literally printed today, right? By the way, if you want to get a copy, it's an uncommon. It's like 50 cents on MTG, TCG Player. It's like less than 50 cents here on MTGO. Like, thank goodness they printed it as an uncommon. Like, the most powerful card in the set by far, based on everything I've seen, at least in Legacy. And definitely one of the coolest arts I've seen in a long time. Like this person has just shed their previous body basically and become this weird dancing ghoul. It's crazy. So yeah, like I would encourage you to do this. Another thing that came up in the Beanstalk Discord is people were like, is it correct to play 4? And I don't know that it's correct, but it's such a powerful card and it pitches to force and it pitches to endurance and force vigor. I mean, it ups your blue count. It gives you some late game action. It's absolutely the best thing you can return with Tamiyo, because when you return with Tamiyo, you also get a free mana to cast it. That's like the back. A lot of people don't realize if you return a green card, you get a free mana of any color. It's awesome. So even if you're not going to immediately use it, sometimes it makes sense to like use Tamiyo as kind of like a ritual effect, and return this. The other things you could do, you could play like Leyline, you could play Life from the Loam. That's certainly a valid thing. Instead of playing a Witherbloom command, you could play a Life from the Loam, because you can waste lock your opponents. That's pretty good. I personally think Witherbloom advances the game plan a lot more. This would make sense in like an Uro deck. I don't think this deck makes sense to add Uro to it. It's already pretty graveyard intensive with the Murderous Cut and the Murktides. And I do think Murktide as a 4-of is just so powerful. Like just having the option to end the game, as whenever you're ready, like in that Storm game, who knows? Maybe if we had Murktide, it would have taken a lot longer. They would have found some combination of like Veils of Summer and Thoughtseizes that they could get through, Slip Our Grip. But yeah, you don't need to play cards that are not synergy. The great thing about this, like one of the fears I always had with Murktide is like, oh, my Murktide is going to be way at the bottom of my deck, and I've got so many Beanstalks out, and by the time I cast my Murktide, I'm not going to be able to I'm going to deck myself before I kill them. Endurance comes in. Endurance is not only an alternate win con that doesn't care about your graveyard if they like say, pre-main, I have a pre-game action, put Leyline out of the Void in. Like your Murktide is not just a pitch card for force. Like you can potentially endurance and win that way too, right? I mean, your Murktide will be a pitch card for force, but you'll have endurance. And if you lock the game down, like if you look at this deck with like 4 removal spells and tons of 4 counter spells and tons of interaction spells, like you can frequently go all the way with an endurance. That's not an uncommon way for me to end the game after I've completely locked things down. So I think 2 endurances feels really good. And these do come up all the time against Oops All spells. It's like having extra forces in your deck if you have enough green cards. So yeah, I mean, like I would be inclined to use Witherbloom command just because we're so heavy in colored mana. The only reason the blue is in here is just to give us a Hydroblast card. And you could argue that Force Vigor, if you just went up to like 3 Force Vigors, you might be able to chill on Hydroblast. But Hydroblast is good against Delver. It's good against the Epic Storm we saw, taking out their powerful payload card. What was it? It's Song of Creation. Yeah, so I think I'd probably play like this. There's at least one flex slot, though. I don't think Witherbloom command number 3 is correct. Yeah, I mean, I think this could just be Loam. The main problem with Loam is it's slow as heck. And if you're already like going to time a lot, like me, I think a lot. I try to think through all my lines. And Life from the Loam, like prompting you every time you click on something, that is just another way to go to time more frequently. There we go. Beautiful final look at the deck before we sign off. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.